this is how the existence of one of the largest creatures on our entire planet was tragically brought to an end. It was truly that simple, with nothing more than a gigantic harpoon. And they have repeated this act not just once or twice or even 3 times, but hundreds of times. They are illegal whaling vessels, actively hunting whales in the territorial waters of Japan. And I know you must be asking yourselves, why isn't anyone doing anything about this? Well, in reality, there actually is someone who is trying to stop them, and those are the brave individuals in this small, red, inflatable boat. But there's a big problem. The whaling ship doesn't care about these people, and it's even capable of ramming right into them. 1, 2, ooh! And in this manner, it provoked the Battle of the Whales. Welcome to a new video. We know this might look a little different from what we usually do here on the channel, but we wanted to try out a new type of content that we hope you'll enjoy. And if so, don't forget to leave a like for more content with amazing stories. For years, whaling has been a global debate, but specifically in Japan, a nation known for its rich culture and advanced technology. Yet it's also one of the few countries that continues to hunt whales. Yes, whale hunting is completely outlawed by the country and by the International Whaling Commission. But unfortunately, illegal crews are still being observed hunting these magnificent creatures. These illegal whalers you see here below are hunting whales because, over the years, they have learned to employ various sophisticated tactics to evade the authorities. First and foremost, they tend to change their names and flags quite regularly to prevent being identified. This makes it rather challenging to trace their past activities. They usually hunt at night or when the weather conditions are poor. The dense fog makes them practically invisible from a long distance. Some ships even employ concealment technologies, such as turning off their automatic identification systems or broadcasting false signals. And yes, they disguise their activities by temporarily removing hunting equipment like gigantic harpoons and storing the captured whale meat out of sight in containers inside the ship, acting as if nothing at all were happening. Once they've made sure everything is ready, it's time to head out to fish. These whalers operate in international waters, where regulations are often less strict and where regular fishermen aren't found. Once there, they'll ruthlessly hunt every whale that crosses their path. Their hunting method is simple, yet atrocious. They use a giant harpoon to penetrate the animal's thick skin. This harpoon, specifically, has an explosive at its tip that detonates once it is inside the animal, but unfortunately the animal does not die instantly. And this is one of the primary reasons why whale conservationists are so incredibly angry. When the explosive in the harpoon doesn't function properly, the crew chooses to finish the hunt with a rifle. We know it's difficult, and I'm sure you're asking yourself, doesn't the government do anything about this? Well, specifically, the government does indeed try to stop them, but locating them is a very challenging task. As we mentioned, they have many ways to hide, and that's where our story's heroes come in. These people in these small boats you see here are sea Sherpas, marine activists dedicated to protecting wildlife, and specifically defending whales from hunting and exploitation. In fact, these people are the whalers' worst enemy. Practically, their mission is to traverse the vast oceans, locate these vessels, and bring them to a halt. What's unfolding here is a full-scale maritime conflict, more commonly referred to as the Whale Wars. The whaling vessel is now attempting to make its escape, and the activists are making efforts to detain him, to deliver him to the authorities. These whale defenders are carrying with them these very long ropes. They know they'll never be able to stop a ship of that enormous size, but they can definitely disable its engine. What they are attempting to do is place a long rope at the front of the vessel, hoping it will become entangled in the engine and bring it to a halt. The primary challenge here involves deploying this rope as close as possible to the ship's bow, thereby risking their own lives. Quickly, the whaling ship begins to use water cannons to repel the smaller boats. They know that if they manage to entangle those ropes, they are practically done for. The activists set their risky plan in motion and move closer to the ship. The rope has successfully become entangled within the engine and the vessel comes to a complete halt for just a few seconds. Finally, they have managed to bring it to a stop, but very quickly, the whaling ship does something that is quite unusual. It begins to move itself backward. It is attempting to untangle the rope by going into reverse gear, and after a few minutes have passed, the ship manages to untangle the rope and continue with its attempt at escaping. This is the activists' second attempt, but this time, the current completely worked against them.
No, you two, please break it up, break it up!
They were nearly run over by the gigantic vessel. In fact, just days earlier, they had experienced precisely the same situation while attempting to halt another unlawful whaling vessel. But this particular one mercilessly rammed right into them. The crew suffered no damage whatsoever, but their ship was left completely unusable. The people on that whaling vessel are not playing around. They don't care if they run over, ram, or even murder these activists, and they will do everything possible to get them out of their way. Usually activists manage to successfully halt the vessel, as they did during their most recent attempt. But since these individuals cannot do anything, much less directly confront them, they simply call the authorities, disclosing the whaling ship's location. Subsequently, the National Guard will then proceed to apprehend them. But there's a pretty big unknown here, and that's why these people risk so much to get the whales. What is it that makes them so special? Something that other legal animals don't possess? Well, you see, one of the primary reasons, and certainly the most evident one, is the economic factor. Whale meat can fetch a very high price in specific markets, especially in regions where it's regarded as a culinary delicacy or a deeply rooted cultural tradition. Illegal hunters can sell the meat at exorbitant prices on the black market, with costs ranging from $200 to as much as $2,000 per kilo, depending on the whale species and its origin. But there's another reason, no less important. In some places, whale hunting has been part of the culture and tradition for centuries. For some communities, whale hunting holds a very deep cultural significance and may be linked to rituals, celebrations, or historical practices. Indeed, in certain remote areas, such as the Arctic polar region, owing to the severe climatic conditions and the traditional customs of their tribes, they continue to hunt whales in a very primitive fashion, utilizing harpoons crafted by hand. This hunt, no matter how brutal it may appear, represents significant value for the community, as it undoubtedly provides food for weeks or even months. That's why everyone collaborates from the moment it's caught, and once the animal has been killed, the leader offers a prayer of gratitude and honor to the whale. Afterward, it's carefully extracted from the ocean, and the entire community is summoned to collectively pull this gigantic marine mammal ashore. Subsequently, it is then transported to the camp, where it's eventually cut and distributed among everyone to be properly stored and frozen. This meat holds deep sacred significance for them, and the united community expresses profound gratitude for this bounty. However, as you can clearly observe, this process bears absolutely no resemblance to commercial whaling practices. Please tell us your thoughts. Do you believe that this ongoing battle will one day finally reach its conclusion? And in your own opinion, what would be the most ideal and perfect solution to this incredibly sad and devastating problem? Currently, at this point in time, we do not have any exact or official records of how many whales are allowed to be hunted every single year, but in Japan alone, it is estimated that the numbers exceed more than 2,000 individual specimens.
Subscribe, like, comment, and turn on notifications.